What's up, everybody? So, I was having a conversation with a client the other day that I think could be beneficial to talk about here on the channel. Um, he asked me a question that, if I had to guess, I probably hear 2 or 3 times a year. And I do think that there is some misunderstanding around it. So, I just wanted to clarify. And the question that he asked me was, hey, I have a few off days where I'm not really doing anything. I have XYZ equipment at home. I would really like to work on my midsection. What kind of exercises could you give me? All that good stuff. And I was luckily hearing through what he was saying, right? So, what he was asking me was for exercises for his abs, for his core. But in reality, what he was really trying to get at was leaning out, right? And aesthetics. So we had to have the conversation that I have to have with a lot of athletes. And it's a hard one to have because I don't think it's the answer most people want to hear. People want a nice, quick, easy fix. And unfortunately, this is just not one of those situations where we can do something like that. And basically, the answer that I gave him was, hey, I could give you ab exercises for days. There's no limit to the number of core stuff that we could potentially do or that you could do at home anywhere in the world. The problem, though, is that that's not going to change anything aesthetically. And honestly, that's just only the first problem. There's other problems involved. But if your goal is actually to shed some weight, it's not going to happen by doing more crunches, more toe touches, more Russian twists, right? The thing that no one wants to hear is that is all done, more or less, in the kitchen. More importantly, it's done through controlled calorie restriction paired with the right kind of workouts. And when you tell people this, they just immediately become deflated, right? That's not the answer they were looking for. They wanted that quick fix. And I don't know, man. I attribute it probably to just the overall training culture. Like you're looking online all the time, you're seeing all these ripped dudes, and they're telling you, hey, if you do 100 sit-ups and 100 crunches and this, that, and the other, you could get a six-pack like me. That's just not it, right? You could have the strongest core in the world, but if it's still covered up by a layer of fat, you're never going to see it. Like, it's the reality. I remember growing up, my dad had a subscription to Men's Health. And at the time, it was kind of like I don't know, the leading thing in the fitness world and outside of like powerlifting. I mean, to the point of where when I was playing on the high school football team, the defensive coordinator would pull workouts from Men's Health and use it for the workouts that we were doing. And there's nothing wrong necessarily with Men's Health. This is not me here trying to bash them. It's just saying that there's a difference between training for aesthetics and training for the job, right? And I don't knock anybody who wants to train for aesthetics. I think if we're being honest with ourselves, if you're training at all, you're probably training whatever, maybe 10, 15, 20% for the aesthetic value of it. But there's more benefit in training for the job at hand. Having a six pack is not going to make you better as a police officer. Having a six pack is not going to make you better as a firefighter. Having massive biceps is not going to keep you alive in a gunfight, right? Like those things, though they're cool, though we love them, they're just not prime movers, if you will, or drivers for operational success. So I think if you are going to train for aesthetics, you just need to be honest with yourself and tell yourself that that's what you're doing. But please don't give up on doing the things that are actually going to move the needle to make you better at the job that you are doing, right? And also, don't forget that those aesthetics are great. They're also really hard, right? A lot of times you have to have the right genetics and you really have to have your nutrition and sleep dialed in. And for most of the people that I'm here, talking to, that's just not a realistic expectation for them to have. But nevertheless, that is what it is. We can't change that. And all we can do is structure our training around it. So if this is a question that you've been dealing with, hopefully this helps you. And if you have any other questions, please leave them in the comments, and we'll see you in the next one.